Everyone has a story to tell. We connect and relate to one another when we share our stories. My name is Amelia Old, and I am your host of Voices of Inspiration. Join me as I share stories of friends, family, and strangers from my everyday life and travels. You will laugh, possibly cry, or walk away feeling connected more than ever to those around you and ready to be the change our world needs. Everyone has a story to tell. What's yours?
Welcome to Voices of Inspiration. I'm your host, Amelia Old, and today we are at Swan Lake Iris Gardens in Sumter, South Carolina, and we're here with Krissy Milan and Colette Daniels. Thank you both for being with me today.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so excited to hear a little bit more about the history here and to take some time to walk around too and see the beauty here.
Well, we're glad you came, and I'm really excited for you to be able to see everything.
Thank you. So let's just start off. Can you provide a brief overview of the history of Swan Lake?
Swan Lake was started in 1927 by a local businessman, Hamilton Carr Bland. He was actually Sumter's first automobile dealer, and he had purchased this property, which was on the very edge of town and was a swamp across the street from a disused mill pond, and he started developing it as a private pond. He just wanted something for himself and his fishing buddies, and while that was going on, he was at the same time working on a Japanese iris garden at his home. Well, the Japanese irises did nothing. They just refused to perform at all. So he had them dug up and brought here to throw them away. It just happened that he had them thrown out at the edge of the water, and the moisture level combined with the acidity that comes from the tannic acid in the water from the cypress trees, everything just made it a perfect climate for Japanese iris. They really took off, and he decided that he would just go with it. And so today we have Swan Lake Iris Gardens with about 120 species of Japanese iris.
Wow, what a cool story. So how has the garden's purpose evolved since its inception?
Well, as I said, it started out as a private pond, a retreat. It was only open to the public a few days a year. In the late 20s, early 30s, he started bringing in the swans, and the first ones that came in were the royal mute swans from Britain, the great big white ones that everybody's familiar with, and then the Australian black swans. Over the years, that started to grow, and he started to collect more and more different types of birds. At the same time, there was another local businessman, A.T. Heath, who owned the Coca-Cola bottling company in town. He purchased the old mill pond and deeded it to the city of Sumter in 1938 on the condition that it be a public park. He wanted Mr. Bland to help with the landscape design and to expand the collection of birds, flowers, trees, all sorts of things, and so it became kind of a community treasure.
Wow, that's really neat. What makes the gardens, other than the swans and the irises, what do you both think makes the gardens unique compared to other gardens? There's lots of gardens all over, right? So what do you think makes it super special?
Well, one thing I'd like to mention is that we are the only public park in the United States that is home to all 8 of the known swan species. I mentioned that the first ones came over in the late 20s, early 30s. In 1997, there was a Japanese corporation in town that donated a matched pair of Bewick swans, which completed our collection. So
Wow.
It took about 50 years, but now we have all of the swan species in the world.
Wow.
We're also a level 2 arboretum, and there's only 3 in South Carolina. So it's us and Darlamore Business School and Brook Greens Gardens.
Are there any milestones here that stand out to you both personally since you've been working here?
Well, I started back in 2019, but one big milestone that we've talked about a lot within Sumter is during the 2015 flood. When we go walking, you'll see the recovery sculpture. And that recovery sculpture, half of it was underwater, which when we see it, you'll see that it stands way above us. So it was quite the astonishing amount of water. And that to me is a huge milestone because of the way the park and the community came together to rebuild and refocus on Swan Lake and opening it back up as quickly as we could for the community. Same with 2020 of making sure everything was safe and being able to open up the park after quarantine. for our community.
What happens to the swans in a situation like that?
Well, when it's a much more dire situation, such as the 2015 flood, that's when park staff will step in and make sure that they're cared for, that they're taken to a very safe place. However, in things like storms, hurricanes, things like that kind of happen fairly regularly here in South Carolina, the swans are very well equipped for it. They all have very safe nests. They all have very safe homes. If the winds do get real high, the park staff is very trained to handle those situations.
How do the gardens contribute to Sumter's identity?
Sumter's identity, one of the things that plays into Sumter's identity, for me at least, is the uniqueness of a small town feel in a big city setting. And Swan Lake Iris Gardens really plays into that, because when you walk into the gardens, you are just completely encapsulated by this hidden gem within a big city. You lose all sense of traffic and the hectic nature of city life, of life just in general, and you're able to take in the calm, the tranquility of nature, and just enjoy yourself and take a step back and calm down. And it's really nice.
That's a nice little getaway from the hectic daily life.
Yes.
How do the gardens attract visitors, and what can a visitor expect during their experience here?
Well, like Colette said, we are the only public park in the country with all 8 species of swans, plus being a level 2 arboretum. That really helps draw people in. And also, it's all the things of Sumter together that make it unique. The boutiques, the mom and pop shops, the small-owned businesses, things like that really help people come in and enjoy day trips, weekend trips, things like that.
I think a lot of our attraction has to do with Mother Nature. We have some very beautiful areas here, and more people want to get out and enjoy that. We really saw a huge uptick in that after the quarantine ended, that people were ready to get out to parks. And in addition to Swan Lake, we have Poinsett State Park, Woods Bay State Park, 26 other city parks. There's a lot to do outdoors here. We are on the South Carolina Palmetto Trail. So there is just a lot here in Sumter, and also our location. Geographically, we are smack in the middle of the state. There's a lot of history here, so many things, and all of those things kind of come together at Swan Lake.
Is there a particular moment for each of you that really stands out, that just really makes you love working here and spending your days here?
Wow. I've been here for a long time.
For me, I came from a background of retail management and pharmaceuticals and a lot of very hectic, fast-paced, high-energy, 50, 60-hour work weeks. So for me, the really, head-hitting moment, the moment of clarity, I guess, for me was being able to, take a 15-minute break, which was just great. But I was able to take a break and walk out my office into a park that was calm and happy, which seems like a very strange adjective for a park, but the people in it, after dealing with retail customers for so long, the people are happy to be here, and they're happy to see all the different things and how unique the park is. It has talking tree trails, and it's got a park with a 1927 fire truck in it that was used by the city. And so to have the uniqueness of being able to enjoy your job, which I feel is just a very individualized feeling anymore, of being able to just walk out your office into a park and enjoy yourself is just such a monumental thing.
And walking through a fairy tale.
Yeah, it's very Disney-esque, especially in spring when everything's blooming. It's very like all the petals are flowing through the air. You've got swans. It's very much a surreal moment of, oh, I work here. That's nice.
I think my ultimate moment here, and I've been here for more than 20 years, so there have been quite a few. I grew up in Sumter, and Swan Lake was in my backyard, so I think along with a lot of people my age, we tended to take it for granted. And when the Visitor Center opened in 2002 and the tourism staff moved out here, we started to really be able to see firsthand the delight that visitors take in the park and how really unique and special this is. But I think the moment that brought that home to me more than anything else was we were in the path of totality during the 2017 eclipse, and we had about 3,000 people in the park. Now the park is only 150 acres and a lot of that's water, so you can about imagine the crowds. And to be part of that moment was really special. But then one of the visitors, as she was leaving, turned to all of us who were greeting people and sending them on their way afterwards, and she said, "I don't think I've ever been to anywhere where people are so kind." And that is something that just kind of encapsulates the feeling that you have here. What Krissy was saying about that, having that moment to pause and be away from everything, it makes people nicer. And that was just a really cool thing to be a part of.
Oh, that does sound special, and it gave me goosebumps. I get those a lot. Are there any upcoming events or developments that you're particularly excited about?
Oh yeah. We actually have the Iris Festival coming up. It's Memorial Day weekend every year. It's one of the longest running festivals in South Carolina. We have over 100 different vendors. Food vendors, arts and crafts, artists. We have people here painting on site. We've got free games, free rides for kids, an old school carousel, petting zoo, axe throwing, human bowling, some of the best food. Oh my goodness. I think I was telling someone earlier how I look forward like 363 days a year. I sit there and I wait for some of these food vendors because once a year I just get to sit there and gorge myself on some of the best food. And we kick it off that Thursday night with Taste of the Gardens. And it's also a free event. You know, it's free to get into both of these events, but there's a DJ, there's food vendors from all across Sumter, and it's like this year's theme is Hawaiian luau. And so we have the Charleston Polynesian dancers. They do a lot of different dances. And they're coming up. They're doing an example of Hawaiian luau. We've got the fire department coming out. They're roasting a whole pig on a spit. And it's just exciting. It's we have a lot of events. Sumter, to me, I always equate it to Stars Hollow in Gilmore Girls because it's very community oriented, and there's about 2-3 events a month anymore. It's very exciting to live here. It's very involved to live here, and to me the Iris Festival is almost like the pinnacle because it's the only 3-day festival, and we usually get about 30,000 to 40,000 people a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And another thing, during the Iris Festival, it is the only time that we put a boat on Swan Lake. In addition to the pig, the fire department also provides a pontoon boat, and there are free rides across Swan Lake through the water, and you can see the irises from the pond itself and be out among the birds, and that's just something that even the locals get excited about.
So how does Swan Lake collaborate with others in the community?
Well, we usually only have the Iris Festival as the only event within the park, and that's a lot of it's to do with protecting the birds, the arboretum level, all that good stuff. But with the tourism office being here, we do help promote a lot of different community events. We're actually part of the state's Front Porch program. We're a certified Front Porch visitor center, so we get a lot of the state pamphlets and informationals that we can get out to the community, and we have a lot of diversity and inclusion, and that is something that's just very important to a lot of people and our community sees it, and it's really great.
What role does volunteerism play in the upkeep of Swan Lake?
Well, we have the master gardeners, And Friends of Swan Lake, they help maintain different sections of the park with a variety of gardens. So we'll go out and we'll see the chocolate garden, the butterfly garden, the sensory garden, and they help with maintaining not only the upkeep but the variety within the gardens. Yep.
And if someone wanted to visit here or find you online, how could they find you?
Lovesumter.com is a great resource. It shows Swan Lake, but it also shows everything going on in Sumter in general. So you can also go to irisfestival.org and check out the Iris Festival and everything going on with the gardens that weekend as well.
And I have one more question for each of you, and I ask everyone this. Do you have a favorite quote or any words of wisdom that you would like to leave behind?
Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one just remembers to turn on the light.
I love that one. Thank you both so much for
Sure.
taking time to chat with me and welcome me here today. I'm so excited to spend some time here and walk around and return for the festival.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.